All right, now before we get started on this soup, I want to talk about what we've got on the board here. Now the chicken that I have here, it's chopped up. It's left over from a chicken that I had roasted a few days ago, and I just chopped it up into little fine bits or small bits, not fine, but small bits, good for a bite size in a soup. That's one large onion chopped, 3 carrots that I've chopped up. Now, if I had celery in the house, you would see a pile of celery the same as that. So I'd use 2 or 3 bits or stalks of celery chopped nice and small, and that is 4 cloves of garlic. You don't have to use that much garlic. You can just use 1 or 2 if you're not crazy about garlic, but you like a little flavor. We love garlic, and it just adds tons and tons of flavor. And if I had it, I would also have some fresh chopped parsley and thyme on the board. But since I don't, we're still going to use some of those things, so stay with me because it adds lots and lots of flavor. But to begin, you see my pot there. I've added some oil in the bottom of it, just drizzled some olive oil across the top. I like good olive oil. And then we're going to just let the pot and the oil heat up. Now, if you're new to cooking and you see how it's bubbling right there when the carrots hit the oil, that tells you it is ready to go. If you put food in the oil too soon, it can get soggy and greasy, and it's just not pleasant. So the way you can test it, kind of put your hand over the oil, don't touch it, but put your hand over it, feel the heat, throw 1 carrot in, 1 onion, whatever you're cooking with. See if it sizzles like that. If it does, you're ready to go. You can add everything else in. So you can see here I've added the carrots and the onions, and the garlic is still sitting over there on the board. We want to wait and add that last because it burns quickly. Now, I've seen lots of chicken noodle soup recipes where they don't add the carrots, they don't add the vegetables until after you add the stock to the pot, and then they just cook it in the stock to make them nice and soft and flavorful and yummy like that. I like this method because it creates so much more flavor. It is just absolutely delicious. Now, when I salt and pepper, I season my foods in layers. You'll see here, I just took a pinch of salt and salted the onions and peppers. The onions and carrots, and I did the same with the pepper. And just mix it all around, spread it back out, even it back out, and let it cook some more. Now once the onions become kind of a clear, they look like they're cooked, or they're not completely translucent, but they look cooked. They start getting a little brown around the edges, and then you know that this is the time to add the garlic. So let's give it one more stir. You don't want anything to stick to the bottom or to burn, because it will. You can see there's no oil left in the bottom of the pan. The vegetables have absorbed the oil, but they can still cook. They're nice and coated, and that's what gives it that browned, yummy flavor that just takes your soup to a whole new level. All right, so let's give it one last stir here. It looks so good. You got a little bit of brown on the edge of some of the onions and the carrots. We're going to add our garlic in there. We're also going to add our herbs. So if you have thyme, even if it's the fresh thyme, now is the time, no pun intended, to add it. But I don't. I have the dried that I bought at the store, so I use that. But I do have some dried celery that I dried from our garden last year, some celery that we grew, and I rub it between my hands like that. Any kind of dried herbs, if you do that, it really breaks them open and it releases those flavors and that aroma, and it is just divine. We want to stir it around again, get everything mixed up really well, and then just kind of spread it back out, let it cook. We're only going to let it cook for about a minute because we really all we're trying to do is just to kind of open up those flavors and to get it all, kick it off, get it going, and everything to kind of blend together. So we're only going to cook it for about a minute. We don't want anything to burn. We're going to keep a really close eye on it, but give it that minute, and then we're going to add our chicken into it next. All right, we've got our final stir here. It's really sizzling right along. Sounds and smells amazing. I wish you could hear it or smell it, guys. All right, so here we go. Now, even though the chicken is already cooked, I'm adding it in there because the flavors, I just want it to really, because chicken is so bland. And we've got all these flavors in the pot, and you've got that little bit of browning on the bottom of the pot, and you just mix it all in, and it just marries all the flavors in, and it just helps bring out more flavor to the chicken. And it's guys, I tell you, it's just so good. We have a 4-year-old that lives with us, a little girl, and last night she said that this was such a good dinner and that I did such a good job. She is so little Miss Granny Pants. Okay, now you saw I did season again. Once again, I added that chicken. You know that chicken is bland. I roasted that chicken, so most of the seasoning and all was on the outside of the bird, on the skin, and it's all cut up here. So once again, I just took a little pinch of salt, a little pinch of pepper, sprinkled it on there, mixed it all up together. Makes a world of difference, y'all. Now this is homemade chicken stock, and I have a video for it that I will be sure and attach for you in the description below. And so anyway, I had that in the freezer. It was a last minute thought, this is what I'm making for dinner tonight. And I thought, oh, I'm going to share it with all of you because it's so darn yummy. I had to do it. So anyway, I got it melted enough just to be able to get it out of the jar or out of the container. Plop it in there. Y'all, just wait. You stick a lid on it because you can see already there's some in the bottom of the pot there. I'm going to put a lid on it. And I'm just going to leave it. I've got the temperature of this soup on about medium on my stove. And it really just depends on your stove. So you want a nice little simmer. You don't want anything too hot, but you want it to be cooking. So we're just going to put the lid on there and let it melt down. Now, another thing too, with a chicken, it's not going to get overcooked in there like that and become dry or anything like that, because the carrots, we kind of pre-cooked them when we were sauteing everything together. They got, they're still a little firm in the middle, but they got cooked on the outside nice. So the chicken's not going to be overcooked or anything like that, so don't worry about that. Now, once we get this chicken stock melted and heated up, I'm going to give a taste to my carrot, just to see exactly what kind of firmness it has to it. And that way I will be able to tell, okay, do I need to let this boil a little bit more before I put my pasta in there? The pasta I'm using today, it's egg noodle, and it's the medium, but if you have the wide, that's even better for the chicken noodle soup. And it's because it's a homemade pasta, then it has to cook for like 12 to 15 minutes. So that's a good long time. So I'm not going to need to boil my carrots or my stock anymore to be able to get my carrots done. So I'm just going to put my pasta in there and it's going to be ready to go. But if you have a pasta that's only going to take 6 or 8 minutes, you may want to cook your carrots just a few more minutes before adding your pasta. Okay, you saw me there. I did my little taste test. And I thought, I think I'm ready to go. So now it's time to add the pasta. Now, as I previously mentioned, we have a 4-year-old. So she came home from school. She and Papa walked in the house, and just my whole world kind of changed there for a minute. The camera fell, and I missed recording, putting the pasta in the pot. But that is what is cooking now. I added 2 cups of dried pasta into the pot, which personally 2 cups is for a normal chicken noodle pot of soup. I added probably more like 2.5 to 3 because my husband does not like a runny or thin soup. He likes a very chunky soup, so I always add extra chicken and extra pasta to my stock so he has his chunky soup. So, but the chicken stock, that was 2 quarts of chicken stock, and the noodles, it would be 2 cups of dried pasta noodles, egg noodles, dried egg noodles. So you can see there I just gave it a little taste just to see where we are with the pasta, and it is going to have to cook a little bit more because like I said, this is a homemade pasta, so it's about 12 to 15 minutes. But you see here now I'm salting again. That may seem like a lot of salt, but we're talking about 2 quarts of stock. You've got 2 chicken breasts of chicken, and then you've got all that pasta. None of those things have salt. Now I do salt my stock a little bit, but it only adds just a little bit of flavor, and you salt to your taste. So once you taste, that's why when you're cooking, throughout your dish, whatever it is, give it a little taste. Season as you go, and then give a little taste and see where you are. So that way you know what you need to have a really yummy dish. I have started spooning up the soup here for everybody to cool off and get ready to eat. But once again, I did not hit record, and I added a 1/4 cup of cream at the very end. Once it was done, I turned it off. I added a 1/4 cup of cream, and if you have fresh parsley, this is the time to add it when you add the cream. Stir it all up, spoon it over into your bowl. You've got that fresh parsley. The heat from the soup just wilts it right down, and it is so, so good. Now right here we've got some cheddar biscuits. I also have a video on how to make them. And at this point, I was like ready to go. I would have left them in the oven to brown just a little bit more, but they were super, super yummy and just absolutely delicious. We sat there and just gorged on soup and biscuits, and my family raved and raved about how the dinner was just amazing and so good, and they just went on. And our little girl, she just told me what a good job I did cooking dinner, and it just warmed my heart, I tell you. All right, guys, now once you try this recipe, I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, any suggestions you have where I could improve upon it or do something different. And don't forget to share it with your friends and family and all across social media. We really would appreciate it, and it helps our channel so much. Okay, enjoy, and God bless.